Traveling across the country with a firearm, chances are you've broken the law. You see, it's not enough as an RVer to have a solid plan to defend yourself against a criminal intruder. On top of that, even if you've done nothing wrong, you have to defend yourself against the attorneys.
There are 7 or 8 states I wouldn't even cross into at this point because they do not respect the right, my Second Amendment right, to defend my family and my safety. Mercedes and I just shared our last video with you guys, and we explained to you how we defend our family against intruders, how we protect ourselves and our family, our neighbors, against intruders when we travel in RV. The biggest question we got in that video was what are the laws? What are state lines, right?
So we thought to ourselves, oh, we'll do a video on the topic about crossing state lines, gun laws in different states, and it'll be easy, right?
How hard can it be?
No, it's really complicated.
It's really complicated.
And the deeper we dug, the more complicated it became.
Guys, it's terrifying. We jumped into about 6 to 8 hours down a rabbit hole and could not believe how much the laws have changed in such a short period of time. The bottom line is that it's complicated.
And here's why, because it's not just enough to worry about the state laws, right? You also need to worry about the county laws and the city laws. So let's say you do your research and you know state A and state B, this is what you got to do. But what if the county you cross into in state B happens to have an additional restriction? What if the firearm you're crossing with has a special stipulation that you didn't read enough into? So it's not just state specific, it's county specific, it's city specific,
it's town specific,
it's firearm specific,
it's ammunition specific, guys. You've got to do your research. So in this video, we're going to share with you how we do it.
Yeah, it's not enough to protect yourself from the criminal. Once you've protected yourself from the criminal, then you got to legally defend yourself and defend your actions. So are you familiar with castle laws?
Are you familiar with retreat laws?
Okay, retreat laws, they kind of make me mad because you have to prove that you attempted to retreat. But if you're really in a life and death situation, like it's against our biological imperative to turn your back to somebody that's about to attack you. That's not a good idea.
So you're camping out in the middle of nowhere. Somebody comes up on you and your life is in danger. You have to be able to prove that you tried to retreat before you defended yourself against harm.
And how do you prove that in situations where it's a split-second decision? We're talking about these extreme cases, but these laws are so litigious and so specific and so granular that it's not enough to protect yourself from the criminal. Then you have to endure a legal defense.
So our thought with creating this video was to simply put together a 15 or 20 minute video to help you guys understand and an overview about how the laws work. It's not possible.
That ship sailed.
We would need to sit here for 6 to 8 hours with a league of attorneys behind us to help us stipulate not just every state, but every county, every city, even every township across the country, their laws can be different.
Ultimately, the responsibility is square on your shoulders, and what we can do is we can give you some resources that we use, but it's still on your shoulders and still up to you to do the homework.
The laws are fluid, they're changing constantly. So the bottom line is that it's your responsibility to do your research when you travel. I can just about guarantee you that anybody who's RVing around this country right now that has firearms in their RV, you have broken the law and you didn't even realize you did it. Yeah. Bottom line, guys, is that we live in a tyranny of the minority in this country. I believe in my heart that most American citizens are law-abiding, God-fearing people that just want to live in peace. They don't want any trouble. You need to check out the laws. There can be laws against the firearms that you're carrying. There can be laws against the ammunition that you're carrying.
How you store them.
There can be laws if you are on any mind-altering, you had a few drinks.
This is a big one.
Or you are on a medication that alters your mind. A lot of states have what's called castle doctrines. But in the same states that have castle doctrines, they have called retreat doctrines. Think about that.
We needed to carry special insurance, not just to guard against the criminal, but to defend ourselves in a court of law in the event that we had to, use deadly force, to have legal defense to show what we did, why we did. And so what we want to do is talk to you about some of those legal defense options, but also give you some really good websites that we use that give you a ton of information, really good resources.
Exactly. Both Mercedes and I personally carry defense insurance. So if we were ever forced to defend our lives or our family's lives, we have lawyers behind us that are going to come in and defend us.
So the first one that I think is really good in some ways, but not in other ways, Let's talk about USCCA real quick.
We're both members.
So I think that I would call them the premium policy because they have a lot of really good resources,
Training.
and they offer like uber amounts of protection.
But they're really, really expensive. So
And some of their resources online, you don't necessarily have to be a member to just Google and look things up.
in our preferred, we actually carry both of these, but we really like US Law Shield. US Law Shield has more than 2 million Americans that they will defend in case they're ever forced to defend their lives. And as far as USCCA goes, they have about 875,000 members. The difference is in the cost.
That's why.
And so most of our members, RV Odd Squad members, people that support us, they carry US Law Shield because it's a lot less expensive. USCCA has different levels of membership. US Law Shield has about one type of membership.
But it's more simple.
USCCA will give you up to $250,000 to bail you out and $2 million of coverage, whereas US Law Shield is about $50,000 to bail you out and a lot less coverage overall to defend you against defending your life.
But regardless, I think that something is better than nothing.
Yes.
And
So number one, it's your responsibility to do your research if you're going to travel state lines, county lines, or even city limits, right? You got to do the research to see what type of ammunition is allowed, what type of guns are allowed, how you've got to store the guns when they're in travel. You got to do your research if you're in an RV. Is that your home? Can we defend that? That's our home, right? That's our castle. Some states will, if I pay for a site, then that's considered my home. But what about transporting one place to another?
Between.
Some states will make you put your ammo and your firearm in different locked containers, and the glove compartment doesn't count. So what do, guys? We carry both USCCA, do your own research, right? They're really expensive, but it's good coverage. And the other one that we prefer is US Law Shield. More of our members carry US Law Shield because the cost is, there's a huge difference in price.
yeah.
But again, do your own research. The biggest question that you're going to need to answer if you're traveling RV full time, are you willing to take the risk of getting arrested and being forced to defend yourself for defending you or your family's lives? Are you even willing to take the risk to cross that line? That's a decision.
That's on you.
That's a decision each and every one of us has to make. Quite frankly, my family will not, especially with the research we just did, there are 7 or 8 states I wouldn't even cross into at this point because they do not respect the right, my Second Amendment right, to defend my family and my safety. Bottom line, guys, is there is a war against our Second Amendment in the United States of America. And just 4 years ago when I did my research to right now, I cannot believe how convoluted and difficult it has become when you're traveling in an RV.
Things change really fast.
They change daily, right? Legislatures from all over the country are busy figuring out ways to mess with gun owners, to take away our rights, to force us to, no matter what happens, to basically be able to be forced to defend ourselves in a court of law. And quite frankly, I would prefer to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So I'm going to do what I'm going to need to do. My family always comes first. Hope this helps. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.